Welcome. We're going to begin talking about the case study, the Internet Use Violations, Threats Over the World Wide Web. My name's Ricky Malone, and I'm doing this for EDL 850 School Law, Spring 2016 semester. Let's begin. The first thing we have to consider is what do you know? We know that Roosevelt High School has a prestigious reputation and a community with a very well-educated, wealthy community. Also, some of its prestigious honors comes from the principal and how well he's done and the accolades that he's received being in that position. Miss Cindy Walker is a new teacher entering her second year who teaches the specialized science classes there at Roosevelt High School. She is a very well-educated teacher with multiple degrees, and she has kind of set the bar high in her classroom with high expectations and academic rigor in her classroom. The principal has conferenced with Ms. Walker about stress-reducing techniques and creating a more positive climate in her classroom based on parents' complaints. There was a message directed through a website to Miss Walker that negatively commented both about her personal life and work life. The message also suggested that people would want to see her disappear through a question that was posed specifically. What do we need to know? We obviously need to know who's responsible for that website or message. We need to try to understand what resources are available either outside the district or inside the district as well. We need to make sure we understand what the school is legally able to do in that situation and what are the rights of the students and teachers, maybe even parents that may be involved. And then, of course, what support does Ms. Walker need through this situation? The problem can be identified is we have someone or a group of people who have created a website that's harassing Miss Cindy Walker. The person or group is probably a student or even a parent of a student who is one of Cindy's specialized science courses. Cindy has set high expectations in her classroom and created a high-stress environment for students. The message directed to Cindy commented both on her personal and work life. The last comment was seen as a threat to Cindy as the person or group was asking who wants Cindy to disappear. Category 2, we talked about kind of a plan of action. The plan of action, number 1, is we have to contact school technology person or find a source to find the source of the website or the message. We may need to reach out to other school officials for additional resources to determine the source of the message. We may even have to reach outside the district if we don't have those capabilities in-house. We need to contact student services or school officials to determine what are the students' and teachers' rights, including understanding what we are legally able to do. And we have to understand the due process. I think that's very important to make sure we do what's right. And we have to, it's always nice to kind of get a second opinion, especially when you kind of have what I'd call a high profile case over the internet like this, where it's exactly clean cut like other ones. We have to reach out to Miss Walker and we have to determine if she will be returning to work, when she'll be returning, and if any supports are needed to make her feel safe as she returns to work. Our strategies for implementation, we need to determine the source. It's important to act fast and get a notification out to school officials immediately. This implies that it's kind of happened in the evening on the weekend, so we have to get information out quickly. We have to be as detailed as possible about the situation. When you're dealing with the website, it's important to have the web address correct, so that's our best way of kind of tracking them down. And we have to be prepared to reach out for additional resources, including maybe local law enforcement if needed. Number 2, we have to understand the schools and students' rights. So we need to reach out to school officials who have a background on these specifics. This could also include other school administration, whether in building or in other buildings, that may have a background on the students or a website creation class or usage, just kind of reaching out to other sources to kind of help us out. Even though Ms. Walker has named a possible student, it's important not to act quickly to accuse the particular student without having all the facts first. Also, it's going to be important to understand the teacher's right, because it's crucial to make sure that she feels supported through the process. If whether she needs to take a few days off, what is she legally able to do, and what do we have to provide her? We have to make sure that we support Ms. Walker. We have to first identify any supports that are needed right away, whether that be for the next school day, whether she takes, like I said, a few days off and will return later. There needs to be a long range support plan in action, as well as this may be an issue that sticks with Miss Walker for a while, especially being a new teacher. We have to make sure that we support her. And when the time is right, we need to make sure we revisit those stress reducing techniques and work on that positive student classroom climate in Miss Walker's classroom. When we talk about the resolution that that is based on promoting the success of all students, what is best for the students. In order to promote the success of all students, it is important to determine the author and validity of the website and message. This can be a big distraction in the classroom. Obviously, it could jeopardize the welfare and safety of our students, so determining the validity of it is very important. Also, we have to understand the student's right to ensure as a school we're acting with integrity in an ethical and fair manner. We have to being sure that we keep up the students' rights in mind, ensure a positive relationship with all students. Also, moving forward to ensure students see success in the classroom, we need to work on techniques with Ms. Walker to reduce the stress and build positive student interactions. The resolution, the website had messages that specifically harassed Miss Walker's both personal and work life, and it it included what could be taken as a threat to Miss Walker. Determining the source of these messages is an important part of the resolution. The demographic of Roosevelt High School community is made up of a very well-educated population of parents. This is important to consider when understanding the students' rights. It will be important to follow due process and be transparent as possible with the steps, because parents are likely to fight back, so to speak, if they feel that a process was not followed. This is especially true because it appears like these things do not happen very often in this community. We have to provide professional development for Cindy Walker to ensure she is producing an environment for students that is conducive for learning. The case study suggests that the principal has had a previous conversation with Cindy about creating a more positive, stress-free environment. Of course, this is not an excuse for the website, but hopefully we can help eliminate future occurrences by working on building positive student relationships in the classroom. When we look at category 4 and we're kind of debriefing the problem. These are the things that I was kind of thinking, feeling as I responded to the problem. Number one, the reputation of the school or the demographic does not affect the way I would handle the situation. Sure, I took that in consideration when I was coming up with some of the strategies for my action plan, but no way does the community, the demographic, or the reputation change the consequence or change my view of what's right or what's wrong. Also, I was surprised how the principal tried to tell Miss Walker that it was probably a hoax. Um, I really want to make sure that I credit, not discredit what Miss Walker says. So if I was in that situation, I would take her concern, tell her I would follow up on it as soon as possible, and kind of ask her what support she needed, tell her I would be calling her back. Um, but I'd be careful with downgrading it a little bit in case it was a viable threat. And something were to happen to Miss Walker, obviously I'd feel horrible. Also, I feel that Miss Walker is doing a great job in her classroom. There's nothing wrong with having high expectations, and I really support the work that she sounds like she's doing in her classroom. Some of the things that I still have questions about or unresolved is I wonder how the conversations have gone in the past when parents have called to complain about Miss Walker's class. My last comment is I really agree with the high amount of rigor and the high expectations of Miss Walker's class. So is the principal supporting that when he talks to parents? And also, we need to determine, is there a guaranteed and viable curriculum in place that can kind of go along with Miss Walker's class to help her sort of ground her teaching, making sure she's kind of teaching to the standard? That would be a great third point to bring in those coaching conversations. And why is Miss Walker hesitant to practice those stress reducing techniques that the principal has tried to conference with her previously? When we're starting to reflect on Standard 5, providing evidence, we have the three components. Component 1, um, how does demonstrate a sense of integrity and ethical behavior? By responding to the community's population and ensuring the students' rights were not violated, I acted with a sense of integrity and demonstrated an ethical behavior. Also, by respecting Ms. Walker's feelings toward the situation, especially offering support as she returned to school, demonstrated ethical behavior. Integrity was also demonstrated in regards to not allowing the demographic of the school's community to waver my decision. Looking at component two, how did you as a building level administrator treat people fairly, equitably, and with dignity and respect? I think the biggest example of treating people fairly included waiting to get the full story before accusing students. I respected Miss Walker's requests and feelings by acting swiftly and not disregarding the website and the messages. I think this is crucial to giving her respect. Also, revisiting the professional learning around the stress reducing techniques later is important when showing respect to Miss Walker. If I try to blame her for the website based on not implementing the suggested strategies, she may find that to be very, very disrespectful. In regards to component three, how did you, as the building level administrator, demonstrate a personal and professional code of ethics that inspires others to a higher level of performance? I think by reaching out to school officials, it shows my attention to the values of my school and district policy. Ensuring that I act quickly and within the guidelines of the district exemplifies professionalism. By valuing Miss Walker's concerns, I demonstrated the importance of being well informed of the situation and being professional in the process. Also, just by ensuring the responsible party, if in fact a student received appropriate consequences, demonstrates a strong code of ethics. This may have been stressed from the class, but this type of behavior is unacceptable. Thank you very much.